Hello everybody and welcome to What Culture for a lovely round of news from me, Ash Millman, and he, Adam Clery. Say hello, Adam.
Hello, Adam.
Yes, hello Adam indeed. Now, for me, I'm going to be talking to you about the DCEU schedule slate changes that Warner Brothers have finally announced. I'm going to talk to you about the Community movie, and I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about Jurassic World 3. So we have such exciting things to explore later on in this video, but Adam also has some lovely news tidbits, which he's going to tell us about right now.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino tried to make a James Bond movie over a lot of alcohol, so I'm going to be giving you a little insight into that. And as What Culture's winner of Best Dressed Man in the Office last year, I also have some movie costume news.
Did you win that? Did you win that?
I got Best Dressed because of the space jacket.
Well, there we go. You know what? I questioned it and I came out looking like a fool. So the space jacket won its dues. Anyway, let's jump straight on in with the big stuff, which is the DCEU schedule slate changes. They've basically announced all of their shifting around. Warner Brothers have looked at everyone else that is changing their schedules and waited until the very last minute and gone, oh, actually, we're going to change everything as well. Now we've seen where everyone else's movies are going, which is smart from a business standpoint, but also like, come on, guys, come on. I've got it all written down in a big old chunk here, so I'm just going to jump on straight in and tell you each movie that they've got on their slate at the moment and when it's going to be released and a bit about that. So first of all, Wonder Woman 1984 is still coming out August 14th, 2020. Now, I feel like that's maybe hedging their bets a bit with everything that's going on at the moment, but they just want to capitalize on if everything reopens by August. That is such a prime slot that they can't really afford to miss it, I guess. Do you not think?
I think they're at the stage now where it's probably worth them just putting things back to a possibly like slightly ambitious release date, and if they move it back again, then they have to move it back again. If things haven't calmed down by then, I'm sure people will be understanding. But yeah. I think just from a human being level at the minute, people are starting to look for like a little bit of something more concrete as to when this might all be over. So at least establishing some big movie releases later on in the summer does give everybody a bit of a cinematic light at the end of the tunnel. As you say, I think it might be a little bit ambitious to go for August, but if it is available, they cannot afford to miss that.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Like it feels like it's nice to have something scheduled for August at least. You can look at it and think about it and be like, that would be really nice. Whether it actually happens or not, again, they might have to shift it around, but at least they are saying, hey, we're going to start thinking about this from August onwards, which is giving it a healthy amount of time, of breathing room from this point until then as well. So hopefully we hit that sort of date, but if not, fair enough. Push it back. We'll still all go and see it because I'm very excited for Wonder Woman. But yeah, after that, there's the Suicide Squad, which is August 6, 2021. Now, that also hasn't moved dates. It's still exactly the same because it's finished all its production and all of the stuff, the filming, the things that they do has been passed on to the editors, and James Gunn is actually editing the movie from home, so it's only really the marketing that's going to be affected, which considering how great the original Suicide Squad's marketing was, probably is a good thing, because it'll be a more realistic depiction of what we're actually going to get rather than spending all the time on the marketing instead.
You're going to catch hell for that. You're going to catch absolute hell for that. I just think of all the many people who are working from home at the minute, I just love the idea that James Gunn is cutting one of like cinema's biggest movies just probably in his pants. Like, yeah, I like absolutely. That as a visual.
I know. I think it's great that he's still plowing on ahead with it all. But no, I don't think it's wrong to say Suicide Squad's marketing was amazing and the film didn't quite match the trailers.
If there's one lesson I've learned about talking about DC films, it's absolutely okay to just stop after the compliment without qualifying it with what was then subsequently wrong. The marketing for Suicide Squad was great.
Yes. We'll see what happens with this lot marketing. That's the only thing that's really affected. But I think everyone knows enough of that about this film coming out and is excited for James Gunn's work. So, hey, if that's the thing that gets affected, at least the film has still got its date. It's looking like it's heading towards that. Otherwise, we move straight on to The Batman, which is the first one on this big old list that has actually been pushed. Now, this is now going to be released on October 21st, 2021, which is a 4-month delay from what we were expecting. So it's not a massive amount of time for it to be pushed back. It's still coming in the same year, but it's only a quarter of the way through production at the moment and has obviously been put on hold, so needs a lot more time to actually finish off the main bulk of what we're going to see in the film. The slot that it's taking over is an untitled Elvis Presley biopic starring Tom Hanks.
Not untitled Elvis Presley biopic!
I know, but yeah.
Will this horror ever end?
It actually is a pretty smart decision on the studio's part because apparently the story is based on a comic arc called The Long Halloween. So coming out in October, just before Halloween, is beneficial maybe.
Hey, that's making bat lemonade out of some severe bat lemons, in my opinion. If it's going to have a Halloween arc, then yeah, of course, it should be coming out around then. Although, isn't it one of the great bits of movie trivia that the big Christmas Batman movie was not? It was released in the summer or something like that, and people still enjoyed that. I'm more like, this is the thing. I don't want to get into the argument now about whether or not the Batman becomes a Halloween film purely because it was set at Halloween. Batman never uses an exploding pumpkin, etc., etc. It doesn't want to be the new Die Hard, but look, I think for films that were supposed to be coming out right about now getting pushed back, you're going to feel that a lot. Like, James Bond feels like it's been erased from mind, like so does Black Widow as well. But for films that we weren't going to get until next year anyway, I don't think they're going to be hurt too much by having to push back a little bit further, because we're not really in the mood of hyping them up yet. So yeah, it's a smart move. It gives them more time to work on the film.
Yeah, it feels so far away that it's okay if it's a little bit further, especially if it comes at the benefit of everyone, like staying safe and sorting all the film out and everything. I think take the months, do what needs to be done. But on from that is Black Adam, which is December 22nd, 2021. And its production has been pushed back because it was supposed to be starting somewhere around now. I think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says it's going to come out, that will start filming in August, September sort of time. But again, the release date is the same, so that's still another one that's in the future that is going to remain the same, which is most of these production dates are staying the same, but key ones are shifting. So if they are doing this extended, wider cinematic universe, it proves just how loose it is as a concept, with so many titles staying the same. But Black Adam is one to be excited for, definitely.
I think this probably proves a slightly smarter decision from DC not to try and go down the Marvel route necessarily, of having these like massive interconnected, interwoven storylines through all of these movies, and just try and produce like interesting standalone films that might have a loose narrative thread or might have a few appearances here and there. Because can you imagine if this had happened like during Phase 3 of the MCU, all of a sudden films getting postponed and cliffhangers being left on and stuff coming out in the wrong order? It would be an absolute nightmare. So yeah, I think just make the best film you can under the circumstances. And I personally, to be honest, I'm annoyed that they've cast The Rock as a character called Adam and it's not the story of my life. That feels like it feels like they shot their load on an easy $1 billion for Hollywood there. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to all these films. I am quite excited for them.
Absolutely. There's a few more. There's DC Super Pets, which is May 20th, 2022. DC Super Pets, which we are all champing at the bit for. But no, it's one that hasn't been spoken about that much, but it's an animated film about DC pets, and it's still in production. It's still got the same date, and all of the animators, bless them, are working from home at the moment. The bit that I read about it was saying that they can still just about do all their work, so they can download everything, but they can't upload things quite as quickly because internet connections are not great at home.
I hear that.
big relatable. But no, it's really nice that there's one in there that can still carry on, and that it seemed quite positive that it was still at least being able to work on from home and stuff can be moved forward with it. So same date. And the most interesting one out of all of these is The Flash, which is coming out in 2022 on June 3rd. And that has actually been moved forwards a month instead of backwards at all. It hasn't actually been affected in any other sort of way. But Warner Brothers have capitalized on the ability to shift around their schedule to this degree and pushed it forward. So presumably it doesn't clash with Captain Marvel 2, which again is smart, but yeah, it's just a strange one for it to come forward instead of backward in the midst of all these other titles.
Does that mean they're just sitting on a Flash movie in their back pocket? Like, what can we do? Oh, there's this Flash film we've had for a couple of years now. You're completely wrong, by the way, saying that that's the most interesting one. The concept of DC Super Pets is, I mean, my head is still in that part of the conversation.
No, but I mean, like, the most interesting one that's come forward. I feel like they're kind of gambling on it being The Flash and it being a super speedy production is what they're trying to say here. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a gimmick. Woo! But yeah, on from that, the last two is Shazam 2 and Aquaman 2. Shazam 2 is November 4th, 2022, and it was in April with Spider-Verse 2 and Black Panther 2, and they've shifted it forward to November, which is smart. Again, they're reshuffling their schedule to match other releases. And then Aquaman 2 has no change, and December is the prime time for that sort of film, so December 16. It came out really well, earned loads of money in 2018, the original one, so I think they're just gambling on this one, sticking around because, hey, it's a good spot for them. But yeah, that's everything on DCEU's schedule shifting around, which is a load of stuff, but also a lot of stuff staying the same. So
yeah, a lot of stuff to digest there, but I think it's, as I was saying before, it's just a smart move, given that people are looking for some kind of conclusion to all of this now. So even if you've got to move your films around going, you'll get this then, you'll get this then, you'll get this then, it gives us all something to look forward to. And you'd think I'd be bored of superhero movies by now, but I'm quite excited for pretty much all of these, I think. DC, Super Pets, especially. Anyway, do you want to hear about this mad Quentin Tarantino story?
Yes, I'd like to hear about your Quentin Tarantino story,
so,
please.
Pierce Brosnan the other night did a watch-along of GoldenEye live. You could put GoldenEye on, you could watch along with Pierce Brosnan. It was kind of like a commentary of the film, but because he was sat on his island resort with the drinks flowing, he got a bit, let me tell you a story about a few moments in it. And one of them concerned what happened after the film. GoldenEye had just come out, he'd revived Bond, he was already being talked about as one of the better Bonds. And Quentin Tarantino said, you and me, buddy, we should have a talk because I want to do a Bond film. So Pierce Brosnan goes to this restaurant, hotel thing to meet him. He ends up having to wait a while because Tarantino's doing a couple of interviews. And to keep him happy, to sort of not have him sat there with his thumb up his butt, Tarantino keeps sending him apple martinis. Yes, Pierce Brosnan, Quentin Tarantino drink apple teenies. Eventually, after a couple of these...
This is the best part of this story, that they drink apple teenies.
I would like an apple martini, please. Appled, not appled. That's probably how he orders it. Anyway, so he sat there for ages. He is, in his own words, a bit schlocked by this point. Eventually, Tarantino comes down, joins in, they have a couple more drinks. They are both completely schlocked. And apparently, Tarantino, I'm going to read the quote. The quote's amazing. Tarantino, he was pounding the table saying, you're the best James Bond, I want to do James Bond. And it was very close quarters in the restaurant, and I thought, please calm down, but obviously we don't tell Quentin Tarantino to calm down. So he pitched him this whole idea for a Bond film he wanted to do, and apparently it was a bit off the wall. It was very Tarantino, it was very crazy. It was supposed to be basically, Casino Royale was one of the original Bond stories, but they could never get the rights to it. That's why it didn't get made until Daniel Craig got the role. But he wanted to do a version of this set in the 1940s and stuff, and it was going to be Brosnan playing Bond, Samuel L. Jackson playing Phoenix. That's the Bond film Tarantino wanted to make, but it just never happened. Producers weren't interested in getting him involved, and in the end, Daniel Craig did all of those Bond films, including Die Another Day, which was terrible, and we never got this, which I think is a big shame, but it's fun to speculate how it might have been.
It is. I think any Tarantino sticking his oar into any massive film franchise is just interesting, like the Star Trek stuff. I'd like to see his take on all these things because he's such a cinephile and knows everything about every movie ever. To see his take on what is such an established, classic, integral franchise to film would be so interesting because he'd know it inside out to be able to both mock it and further it. So I'd have been very down for that, but it is not meant to be.
Plus, you would have heard Judi Dench say mother, which I think is reason enough to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. It would. What could have been, eh?
What could have been? Anyway, speaking of what could have been, there's a few little costume bits here we're going to rattle through very quickly. Zack Snyder has released an image on his Instagram of what his original concept art was going to be for Superman in Man of Steel, and it's not particularly mind-blowing or anything. There's not any radical departures from the character in so much as Zack Snyder does like to make these radical departures from the character. But the interesting thing that people are oohing and ahhing at is he wanted to put a big Superman logo on the back of his cape, which for me...
that makes sense. Branding.
Yeah, but it's a bit... Is it not a bit too much like your favourite sports star, like Soup's S on the back of his top?
I back it. I think he wears it on his chest, man. He has it on his belt. He has it all over the place. Put it on his back as well. Go on.
It feels like you can't have too much of a good thing, in my opinion. So yes, that is that. That's this concept art, which you've now just seen. But also, James Meendering, and I'm very sorry if I've said that wrong, he is the head of visual arts and concepts and things like that at Marvel. He shared also on his Instagram, not wanting to be outdone, this image of Doctor Strange, which is a bit of concept art, some costume design they were going to use for the film, but in the end did not. And I'm not going to lie, that's a trendy blue. That is a nice trendy blue with a bit of gold trim. I wouldn't be against them using that in a feature film, actually. It's kind of got...
Lovely,
the red is very imposing, I think. The red is, oh, look at me, I'm a saucer. Whereas this is ooh, am I going to turn into a frog? Am I not? I quite like it.
With a bit of magician clothes rather than wizard clothes,
Exactly.
the two segments. Right, but on from other small tidbits of movie news, there has been, Joe Russo's been talking about Community movie again. Obviously, we all know 6 seasons in a movie is what we all want, what we need, what is right in this world and should be delivered at some point in time. Community is the wonderful, hilarious TV series, and it's on Netflix at the moment and doing absolutely great streaming-wise. And he spoke in an interview with Collider and has said, we'd certainly be willing to do it. We love our Community family. That cast, we're all still very close to all of them. It'd certainly be schedule depending for us, but I believe there will be a Community movie, especially now that it's doing so well on streaming. Someone like Netflix could step up and make that movie. So there's no actual confirmation on a Community movie still that we're all desperate for, but there is at least optimism and enthusiasm for it, which is the very least of what could happen. But that it's been spoken about positively. Again, it's good. It's good news. It's good news. It hopefully will blossom into good actual reality as well. And I also, just from that interview, which I thought was really funny, that they said that the paintball episodes were a huge part of their Marvel career. Now, Adam, have you seen Community?
No, but you know I haven't seen Community because you've been trying to get me to watch Community for absolutely ages.
I have.
It's
I wasn't
this
sure if you
year's.
had yet.
It's this year's Always Sunny. Like, I spent years being told you need to watch Always Sunny. Then I finally did, and I really loved it. And now people are doing the same thing with Community, and I will give it a go at some stage. So I'm actually quite happy they're not making the movie yet because it gives me time to watch the show.
Well, the paintball episodes are some of the very, like, the peak pinnacle of TV making ever. They just take genres and absolutely bash them with paintballs, and the whole Wild West theme, all that sort of thing, all massive shootouts. That they took that and used that as the building for their Marvel career is just really, really nice. The last thing we've got to finish up on is Jurassic World 3, which is literally, we've seen a picture of some snow, and that's it. And maybe there's going to be dinosaurs in there, we don't know. But it's very exciting. Colin Trevorrow posted a tweet about it, and it has a scene featuring Isabella Sermon as an older Maisie Lockwood on camera in some snow. Will there be dinosaurs there? Hopefully. I hope so. Do you hope so in the snow, Adam?
To be honest, I actually do really hope so in the snow because I'm sick of seeing tundra and jungle. I think they need to mix this up ever so slightly. And to be honest, while this isn't particularly exciting news, it is a nice reminder that Jurassic World 3 is happening. So my hype glands are swelling a bit.
Oh, it's disgusting. But no, I'm also very enthused. I'd like to see a whole new setting for them. The snow is somewhere they haven't taken it before, so having a massive snowy mountain, like a full movie of the Arctic full of dinosaurs, would be very cool. And the whole new Ice Age theme for the Jurassic World canon would be good. But yeah, that's all of our news today. That's all of our little stories wrapped up and put with a bow. Is there anything else you want to finish up on, Adam?
Very quickly, as our on finally, if you've got time to check it out, James Gunn posted a list of 54 A+ action movies that you should watch in lockdown. So we'll put a link to that in the description as well. And if you want to send us your on finallys, we might spend a little bit more time on them tomorrow. Get them in the comments below or get us on Twitter.
Yes, that would be lovely. We'd love to see some more from you. But in the meantime, you catch us on Twitter at Ash Millman and Adam on
Adam Clery, Clery.
Yeah, there we go. There's the spelling. Otherwise, you can catch What Culture on WHATCULTURE.
I thought you messed that up.
She wins a prize. The spelling bee, Queen. Anyway, we'll see you again tomorrow for some more lovely news. Have a good day. Let us know what you think in the comments below and all of that fun stuff. In the meantime, goodbye.